Hello, my name is Zisl Slepovitch, and I'm a musician in residence at Yale University's Fortunoff Video Archive for Holocaust Testimonies. This video series is designed as a companion to our album Where Is Our Homeland, which is the first volume in the archive's ongoing effort to present songs and poems performed by survivors in testimonies given to the Fortunoff archive over the last 40 years. You can learn more about the project on the archive's website, songsfromtestimonies.org. Where Is Our Homeland? Songs from Testimonies Volume 1 was recorded in 2019 by the Zisl Slepovitch Ensemble featuring renowned singer Sasha Lurje, Craig Udelman on the violin, Joshua Kemp on the accordion, keyboards and guitar, Dmitry Ishchenko on the bass, and myself on woodwinds. The songs in this collection differ vastly in terms of style, social and historical background, language, and many other aspects, but collectively they create a multidimensional picture of Jewish life before and during World War II. Peretz H was born in 1927 in Warsaw. He was a child when the war broke out. He used to sing in the streets of Warsaw to earn a living, and he shared several songs in his 1993 Fortunoff Video Archive testimony. One of them is Walc François, composed in 1905 by Adam Józef Karasiński to lyrics of Andrzej Włost. That song was a salon waltz that enjoyed enormous popularity in Poland in the first half of the 20th century. There is no surprise that a song written in what originally was a sentimentalism-era salon genre, with the lyrics expressing the longing for the golden times, golden era of the past, gained such enormous popularity. Walc François ended up among many songs that Peretz H was singing for his livelihood during the war.
W starych nutach babuni walc przechował się ten. Wspomnień wieczorkiem u niej widzę cię jak przez sen. Grajek przy fortepianie, goście snują się w krąg. W białych buchach, turniurach są panie, w klapach panew chryzantem tkwi pąk. Dawnych wspomnień czar, wdzięk stylowych par, muślin sukien jak mgła i najnowszy ten walc François. Gdyby jeszcze raz wrócił dawny czas, żeby zbudzić serca złych ludzi szarowego walca François.
W starych nutach babuni walc przechował się ten. Pomnią wieczorek u niej, wyjdzie go jak przez sen. Graj przy fortepianie, goście snują się w krąg. W białych bufach, turniurach szampanie, w klapach paną chryzantem twój pąk. Dawnych wspomnień czar, wdzięk stylowych par, muszlin sukien jak mgła i najnowszy ten walc François. Gdyby jeszcze raz wrócił piękny czas, czy by wbudził w sercach złych ludzi ciel modnego walca François. goście snują się w krąg, w białych bufach, turniurach, szampanie, w klapach paną chryzantem twój pąk. Dawnych wspomnień siar, wdzięk stylowych par, muszlin sukien jak mgła i najnowszy ten wals François. Gdyby jeszcze raz wrócił piękny czas, gdyby wzbudził w sercach złych ludzi czerwodnego walca François. Dawnych wspomnień siar, wdzięk stylowych par, muszlin sukien jak mgła i najnowszy ten walc François. Gdyby jeszcze raz wrócił piękny czas, gdyby wzbudził w sercach złych ludzi czerwodnego walca François.
Waltz François belongs to this repertoire of street musicians, singers who wanted to survive during German occupation in Warsaw using hits from pre-war time to make their living, to survive. And in many cases these hits came from abroad to Poland. That was the case of Chilito Lindo. But this is not the case of Waltz François. It originated from this very unique milieu of pre-war Polish Jewish artistic circles on the turn of 19th-20th centuries. And there are some special characters of this story which I would like to say a few words about. The first is Adam Karasiński, a Polish musician and composer, who is an author of Waltz François. It was year 1905, a reception devoted to his colleague, composer and friend, and on that very party he for the first time performs this melody of Waltz François, which quickly gained popularity and became one of the main Polish waltz melodies, and Karasiński was called the king of Polish waltz at that time. He died in 1920. We have a family, Polish Jewish family. His wife was Jewish, and their son Zbigniew Karasiński became a new editor, author of new version of this song in 1920. Zbigniew Karasiński is a very, very interesting personality. He became one of the pioneers of Polish jazz. And before the war, during the war, and after the war time, he was very engaged in developing orchestras, compositions, concerts devoted to mostly jazz music, also popular music. But when the year 1968 came, this anti-Semitic action by communist regime in Poland, he emigrated abroad. So this is one part of that story from Karasiński's family. Another character, very important, maybe the crucial one for the popularity of our song, is Andrzej Włast, a Polish Jew coming from Łódź, who came to Warsaw at that time, and became one of the major figures of developing so-called Polish mass culture with revias, cabarets, and so on. Many people consider him the first person who was confident about the need of mass culture in a new post-war, post-First World War Poland at that time. So firstly, he started to cooperate with the most famous and I think the best cabaret we had in pre-war time in Poland, Qui Pro Quo, with such names as Julian Tuwim and Hemar. Comparing to Andrzej Włast, they were more ambitious. The poetry, the lyrics was on the higher level, but Andrzej Włast liked to compose and to produce more popular repertoire, less ambitious. That's why he was called Król Szmiry in pre-war Warsaw, the king of Szmira, which is a less ambitious repertoire, softly saying. But there were, of course, the peers of poetry in his lyrics as well. He was an author of such songs as Rebecca, very popular also after the war, especially when Ewa Demarczyk started to perform it. And he was the author of the lyrics to Walc François. And it became a hit of a new cabaret he established in 1927 in Warsaw, which was called Morskie Oko, CI, which was called Warsaw's Casino de Paris, because it was influenced very heavily by the French tradition of revia and cabaret, especially Casino de Paris, also Moulin Rouge and others. He was traveling very often to Paris at that time and taking the models, the inspiration from that tradition. And it was very much about this culture in Warsaw. It was very much French-oriented, and that was also the reason that Warsaw was called at that time the Paris of the North. And Andrzej Włast was very responsible for that title. And we may understand why it was called Walc François. The French culture was very attractive and at the background of this music. Andrzej Włast also composed he was author of such hits as a lyrics writer as Tango Milonga. I think the most popular composition at that time, coming from Poland, composed by Jerzy Petersburski, and with international fame. Among the singers performing this composition was Edith Piaf, and it was also performed on Broadway in Jolson musicals. So very successful hit, coming also from that milieu in Warsaw. It is worthwhile to mention also a very tragic fate of Andrzej Włast during Holocaust. He was close in Warsaw Ghetto, and there are different variants of his death. One of them is saying that his friends make the whole action to take him out from the Warsaw Ghetto, but when he saw German soldiers, he went to panic and was shot down at the spot. We we don't know exactly how it was, but he perished in that time in Warsaw. What about the later history of our song? It is still popular in Poland. You may find it in such productions as the TV series Gotleinen, Boża Podszewka, very popular in Poland in the 90s of last century, but mainly the living of this song and composition is because its popularity is because the performance by Tadeusz Kantor, The Death Class, from 1975. And there is an anecdote behind it why Kantor used this melody in his performance. It was his wife, Maria Stangert, who was humming during the presence in one of the Krakow's cafe, humming this melody, and Kantor immediately said, "Oh, this is the melody for our performance." Why? I think that it was the whole performance, which is one of the most important performances of 20th century, not only Polish theater. The reason for that, I think, is that the whole performance is about coming back to our childhood time, to our school time, to revoke the memories, also traumatic memories from that very time. And this melody serves on that day, in this case very strongly. So when we sing today about Walc François, it's very much about coming back to our childhood, to our past, with a nostalgia, with kind of feeling we still have of returning to better times, to the golden age, something like that. And precisely that was the reason Kantor used for this very dramatic performance, and there is no other music in the performance. Only it's like a leitmotif from the beginning to the end, repeated and repeated in the performance, and almost conducted by Kantor, who was present on the stage and conducting this music. So we still keep it in our minds, in our hearts, in our culture, and we should remember mostly, I think, the last verses of the song, which goes: Gdyby zbudził w sercach złych ludzi czar modnego walca François. If only it would evoke in these hearts of evil the magic of that French waltz. I think we should still do our best to keep it, to keep this magic, to counter the evil in our hearts.